In the League Championship Series, the San Francisco Giants took out their longtime rival Los Angeles Dodgers in 5 games. There will be no wildcard upset in the National League. And then on the American League side, the Los Angeles Angels snuck it out in 7 games over the Cleveland Indians. It was 3-0 Angels, and they let Cleveland get back into it, but the Angels did buckle down and win it for the American League. So the 2022 World Series is the San Francisco Giants representing the National League and the Los Angeles Angels representing the American League. So let's take a look at the Angels roster. Their rotation for this series, 1 to 5, will be Jamie Barria, Shohei Ohtani, Andrew Heaney, Shelby Miller, and then Parker Bridwell, who I do not know if he's going to get a start in the series, but he is listed as the number 5 starter. In their bullpen, they have a very strong bullpen led by Sean Doolittle, Archie Bradley, who they traded for at the deadline, and then Cam Bedrosian at the back end of their bullpen. Well, they also have a couple former Giants in left-handers Tyler Lyons and Travis Bergen. And now as we're scrolling by, looking through their lineups with right-handed pitching with DH and without DH, left-handed pitching with DH and without DH, it's worth mentioning that Mike Trout has actually been quite bad this postseason. He's hitting under 200, which obviously batting average isn't everything, but still when you're hitting under 200, generally you're not performing quite well. So Mike Trout not performing well, but the rest of his team has really picked him up. Justin Upton's been on fire. Tim Anderson has been solid, so has Brian Goodwin, David Fletcher, Carlos Santana's had a good postseason. And you may be asking yourself, where are Ryan Schimpf and Sean Jelly? Ryan Schimpf spent the entire year in AAA with the Salt Lake Bees, despite being the best third baseman in their organization. Josh Donaldson actually spent the entire year on the Major League roster, and he played yes, you heard me correctly, 1 game all year long. Was on the roster for 162 games, and he played 1 game. They just never DFA'd him. They never thought, hey, maybe we should have Schimpf on the roster. Even if he's on the 40-man already, we can just call him up. We can DFA Donaldson. He's not playing. They never thought to do that, so Ryan Schimpf spent the whole year in AAA. Well, Sean Jelly, at least it makes sense why he was in AAA, as he is the 6th best starter in the organization. He's just the odd man out. Parker Bridwell is the number 5. It's also just wild to me that we make a pretty big trade with the Angels after we both don't make the playoffs last year, and then we both end up in the World Series. So with that being said, let's actually dive into the games here. Game 1 being Derek Rodriguez going for the Giants, and then Jamie Barria going for the Angels. Some things actually happen in the top of the first, as Tim Anderson's going to start the game off with a single. After that, Andrelton Simmons flies out, Trout strikes out, Upton hits a single, so it's runners on the corners for Brian Goodwin, who walks. Bases juiced for Santana, hits a 2 RBI single, it's a 2-0 Angels lead. Bases loaded now, but then D-Rod would get out of it. So move things along to the top of the third, where Brian Goodwin is going to hit a home run, make it a 3-0 lead for the Angels. We move things along to the bottom of the 5th after a bunch of nothing happens, where Joey Bart would finally get the Giants on the board with a solo shot of his own, make it a 3-1 game. As then we move on, a couple pitching changes happen. Nothing exciting happens though, still 3-1 until we get to the top of the 8th. Tanner Scott comes on, gives up a solo shot to Goodwin, his 2nd home run of the game, and the Angels have a 4-1 lead, which would be the final score in this one. As the Angels take Game 1 of the World Series, they jump off to a 1-0 series lead thanks to Brian Goodwin and his 2 home runs. Now on to Game 2, where it's the lefty Tyler Skaggs taking on his former team and the Angels, who will be sending out the right-handed Japanese phenom Shohei Ohtani. Once again, some things happen in the top of the first, so Tim Anderson leads things off with a single, Fletcher then flies out, and then Trout is going to hit an RBI double, so the Angels jump off to a 1-0 lead. Then a whole bunch of nothing happens, so we're going to move things along to the top half of the 4th, where it's still a 1-0 game. Skaggs is still on the hill, but then he's replaced by Jason Tutman with runners on first and second after 2 walks. Brett Lawrie then strikes out. Ohtani then walks. Tim Anderson, he would not reach. He would reach, but it's a fielder's choice, and then a run comes in, but the next runner is gunned into the plate, so it's a 2-0 lead for the Angels. Bottom of the 5th, where Fuentes comes on to pinch hit. Baez then hits a single, Fuentes is gunned down trying to go to third, Turner flies out, Altair singles, and then Yamada hits a 3-run shot, puts the Giants on top. It's now a 3-2 lead, Giants out in front. We move things along, bottom of the 6th, Keenan Middleton comes on, gives up a home run to Stuart Fairchild, makes it a 4-2 game. Top of the 7th, where Jay Groom is facing David Fletcher. He hits a home run, makes it a 4-3 game. Bottom of the 7th, Jock Peterson hits a home run, makes it a 5-3 game. On to the top of the 9th now, Reyes Maranta comes on looking for the save, facing Angelton Simmons, who comes on to pinch hit. He draws a walk. Tim Anderson draws a walk. David Fletcher then lays down a sac bunt, brings up Mike Trout with 1 out, runners on 2nd and 3rd. So a huge situation, and we are going to hop into the game. The most dangerous hitter in the Angels lineup is up in a very big spot with first base open, so the Giants are going to intentionally walk him, set up the double play possibility. Brings up Justin Upton with bases juiced, 1 out. He's been on fire this postseason, but he's going to pop one up into the infield here, sky high. The shortstop Baez puts it away for out number 2, and then Brian Goodwin goes down swinging, drop third strike. Bart tosses over to first as Maranta gets out of the jam. 5-3 win for the Giants as they have knotted this series up here at 1 game apiece, as the series will now be traveling out to Orange County to take on the Angels and play some American League Baseball, where we're going to have a battle of 2 lefties, Robbie Ray going for the Giants and Andrew Heaney going for the Angels. And we've got ourselves another action-packed first inning where Baez is going to lead things off with a strikeout. Fairchild then singles. Turner then comes up. Fairchild steals second, so it's first and second now after Turner walks. Yamada walks. Bart walks. A run comes in. 1-0 Giants. Travis would then reach into fielder's choice. The run does not score. Mooney then flies out. 1-0. Move things on to the bottom of the first. Anderson lines out. Fletcher doubles. Trout walks. Upton singles. Bases juiced for Brian Goodwin. He's going to strike out. So is Santana. Ray gets out of the bases loaded jam. Still a 1-0 lead for the Giants as we move things on to the bottom of the 3rd. It's a double for Fletcher. Trout strikes out. Upton then comes to the plate. He's going to be pitched around. He walks. Goodwin walks. Santana, grand slam. 4-1 lead now for the Giants. Huge grand slam for Santana. On to the top of the 5th now where Baez doubles. Fairchild drives him in. It's now a 4-2 game. Move things on to the bottom of the 5th. Tanner Scott on the hill gives up a double to Goodwin. Santana then drives him in, makes it a 6-2 lead for the Angels. Top of the 6th, it would be Travis hitting a home run, making it a 6-3 game. Keenan Middleton comes on in the 7th. Ramos doubles. Ordonez homers, makes it a 6-5 ball game. As then a whole bunch of nothing would happen, we move things on to the top of the 9th, where Sean Doolittle comes on for the Angels, their closer. He's facing Ordonez, who hits a double to lead off the inning, so down by 1 of the Giants, runner on second base, nobody out, top of the order coming up. Let's hop into this huge spot. Javi Baez digs into the batter's box for the Giants, runner on second base, 0-2 count. He's way out in front of a slider going down swinging, so 1 down now. Runner on second brings up Stuart Fairchild. He draws himself a walk, so it's first and second now. Brings up Justin Turner. He's also going to spit on a pitch, and he's going to draw himself a walk as well, so full count or full bases for the Giants. Yamada then strikes out for the 2nd out of the inning, so it's 2 down, bases juiced for Joey Bart as their last hope. Flies 1 out to right field. That one's going to be right at the right fielder. He doesn't even need to move. As the Giants come up short, the Angels hold on with Sean Doolittle as they win Game 3 and they take a 2-1 series lead. In large part to Carlos Santana's grand slam in that game. We now move things on to Game 4 where it's Hyun-Jin Ryu going for the Giants. He'll be facing Shelby Miller of the Angels. Nothing happened in the first inning in this one, but we will start things off in the top of the 2nd where Gilberto Fuentes hits a home run, makes it a 1-0 lead for the Giants. Bart then singles. Travis then hits an RBI double. It's now a 2-0 lead for the Giants, so a early lead for the Giants in this one. In the bottom of the 2nd, Upton flies out. Goodwin homers, makes it a 2-1 game now as the lead is cut in half. We'll move on to the top of the third, where Stuart Fairchild is at the plate. He doubles. Then Yamada comes up. He strikes out. Altair hits a single. Runners on the corners for Justin Turner. Altair decides to swipe second base to eliminate the double play possibility. Turner then pops up. Fuentes then drives in his second and third runs of the game, makes it a 4-1 lead. Another run comes in on a Devin Travis RBI single. It's now a 5-1, 4-run lead for the Giants. As then we move things on to the bottom of the fourth, where Goodwin walks, loads the bases for the Giants. Carlos Santana, bases loaded here, sac fly this time, makes it a 5-2 game now. Bottom of the sixth, where Jason Tutman comes on to replace Ryu after he walked 2 batters. And he's going to strike out the first one, give up an RBI single after that to Santana, makes it a 5-3 game. Move things on to the bottom of the eighth, where Raisel Iglesias comes on to replace Tutman. Gives up a single to Fletcher, a walk to Trout, and then Justin Upton hits a 3-run shot. As the Angels are now in front in this game, Giants blew their lead. As the Angels then bring on their closer in the 9th inning, he shuts the door, and it's another 6-5 victory for the Angels, as they are now up in this series 3-1. Giants have their backs against the wall, and it's going to be forcing a Game 5 here, where the Giants need to win to stay alive. Game 5 of the World Series, the Giants have their backs against the walls. The Angels lead this series 3-1. The 2 games in San Fran were split, and then the first 2 games here in Anaheim were 6-5 victories for the Angels, who are sending out Jamie Barria for the start in this game, as he will be opposed by the Giants ace and Derek Rodriguez, making his 5th start of the postseason, looking to keep the Giants alive. Take a look at their lineup on the day, 1-2-9, as well as the Angels lineup as well. So start things off, bottom half of the first inning. Andrelton Simmons goes down on that trademarked big breaking ball that D-Rod has. Mike Trout then keeps the inning alive with a base knock up the gut, but then after that, it would be Justin Upton up with a runner on first base, and he would also fall victim to that signature big breaking ball that D-Rod has. 2 strikeouts in the inning for D-Rod. It's still 0-0. Top of the second, Gilberto Fuentes puts a charge into a ball to right center field. Looks like it's probably going to be a hit, but instead, Mike Trout showing off why he is one of the best defensive center fielders in the game. He gets to that one. Top of the fourth now, Jock Peterson draws himself a walk, so he's on first base. He would then move up on a wild pitch to Stuart Fairchild. Peterson in second base now in scoring position. Fairchild would then hit a ball to deep right center field. Looks like it has a chance to get out of here, at least off the wall, but Mike Trout once again showing off that defensive prowess as he gets to that ball. Peterson can only tag up to third, and then Yamada with a runner on third base pops it sky high into the infield. That is not going to be enough to tag him up, so it's a pop out to the catcher, and then Aaron Altair would pop one up deep to center field, but it's just going to be right where Trout is standing, as it's still 0-0. Bottom of the fourth, Mike Trout at the plate gets jammed, pops it up the right field, Fairchild's under it, and that's going to be out number 2. After that, it would be Justin Upton drawing a walk, keep the inning alive. Now Brian Goodwin at the plate. He goes down on the curveball as another strikeout on that curveball from D-Rod, still scoreless. Top of the fifth now, Gilberto Fuentes is getting robbed yet again. This time it's by the leaping glove of Carlos Santana at first base. And then with 2 outs, Joey Bart delivers a long fly ball into left field that's going to get into the bullpen. A solo shot for Joey Bart makes it a 1-0 lead for the Giants, as a team is finally on the board in this one. They tried to get more, though, as Peter Mooney hits the ball into right field on the ground for a single. He's on first base, keeping the inning alive, and then he goes and swipes second base. Gets a great jump. He's now in scoring position for Javi Baez. Full count to him. And he gets a changeup that he whiffs through way out in front of. And it's still 1-0. Bottom of the fifth. Ground out into the shift, it looks like, but the throw from Mooney pulls Turner off the bag, so Santana reaches on an error. So runner on first, nobody out. Fletcher would then chase a slider as he goes down swinging, or he chases the cutter that performed like a slider as he goes down swinging, and then after that would be a 4-6-3 double play that Jansen grounds into. Still a 1-0 game until we get to the bottom of the sixth, where Tim Anderson puts a charge into one to dead center field. That one's going into the rocks. A solo shot for the Angels makes it a 1-1 tie game. Later on in the inning, Andrelton Simmons hits a ball into left center field. That's going to be an easy double for Simba, so he's in scoring position. That would end Derek Rodriguez's day. TJ Trejo comes out of the pen to face the right-handed hitter in Trout, and he would get him out with a ground ball to second base. Runner does move up to third, so runner on third, 2 outs for Justin Upton, who's going to hit a chopper over to third base. That's fielded and fired over to first base for the 3rd out of the inning, as the Giants keep it at a 1-1 game. On to the top of the 8th, where the Angels bring on the former Giant in the lefty Tyler Lyons, facing Javi Baez. Hits a line drive into left center field, but Mike Trout once again robbing what probably would have been a hit against any other center fielder, but instead it's a line out. So then it's going to be a flare out from Peterson as he faces the lefty. Move things on to the bottom of the 8th. Tanner Scott comes on facing Jonathan Daza. Strikes out on the slider. That's out number 1. Out number 2 would come from Tim Anderson grounding out to the second baseman. And then out number 3 would come from Andrelton Simmons, who pops one up to right field as Fairchild is there to put that one away for the 3rd out. And we move things on to the bottom of the 9th. Reyes Maranta trying to keep the game where it is and send it to extra innings like he has done so many times this postseason. First batter up, he strikes out the biggest threat in Mike Trout. Next batter up is Justin Upton. He's going to pop one up into the shallow right field grass. Turner's there to put that one away. After that, it would be Brian Goodwin, who does not want this game to end. Hits the ball to right center field, that's off the wall. Hits so hard that he made it a hard time for him to hit a double, but he does get in there just before the tag. And then it brings up Carlos Santana. 2-2 counts. He hit a long way. That's gone. And the Angels have walked this one off, as Carlos Santana, not the guitarist, but the ball player, walks off with a 2-run shot as the Angels win this game and win the World Series with a walk-off home run here in Game 5 over the Giants. Congratulations to the Los Angeles Angels. You were on top of the world in the 2022 season. It was a valiant effort from the Giants making the postseason in their first time in this franchise, winning 100 games in the regular season, being down with their backs against the wall in the NLDS against the Nationals and fighting back to win 3 in a row, moving on to the NLCS where they beat their longtime rival Dodgers quite easily in 5 games, and then moving on to take on the Angels, who were just too much as the Giants fizzled out, and also the Giants got a bit unlucky with a couple 1-run losses, but those still are losses as the Giants could not get the job done and the Angels could, so the Angels are winners of the 2022 World Series. And that's going to wrap things up here for this edition of the San Francisco Giants franchise. This is not the end of the San Francisco Giants franchise. Do not worry, I do not plan on ending this series anytime soon. I do not know when the end date will be. I still very, very, very much enjoy playing this series and posting this series. So with that being said, the next episode you will see will be the off-season video to prepare for the upcoming 2023 season, which would be Season 5 of this franchise. I've been your host, Jerseyborn, and I am saying, Freddie Gibbs and Madlib Bandana, tonight...